back, everyone. We've got some breaking news. What you're looking at right there on your screen is a Tren de Aragua boat near Venezuela, coming out of Venezuela, that was hit with a U.S. military strike ordered by President Trump. We believe it's the first military strike after President Trump had moved warships into the southern Caribbean Sea. Tren de Aragua, a very dangerous group, TDA, labeled as a foreign terrorist organization moving drugs in here. President Trump issued a true statement saying this should be a warning to anyone bringing drugs to America. Beware. President Trump also issued, maybe not a warning, but a demand. This to the drug companies. It is very important that drug companies justify the success of their various COVID drugs. Many people think they were a miracle that saved millions of lives. Others disagree. With the CDC being ripped apart over this question, I want the answer, and I want it now. This is the first real sign that President Trump understands that there are real questions, and I would say definitive proof that the COVID vaccinations are dangerous and should not be taken by anyone. This action of President Trump demanding this from the drug companies should not be taken lightly. I think this is a very big step in the right direction. I want to bring in now world-renowned doctor and chief scientific officer at the wellness company, Dr. Peter McCullough, is with us. Doc, great to see you again.
Thank you.
All right, Doc. He talks about warp speed and saying some call it a great success, but then he says others don't. And I want the answers. I want the truth. This is really the best we've seen from him of saying, hey, maybe there is another side. Warp speed wasn't that great. These COVID vaccines are a problem. What did you make of the Truth Social post?
You know, everyone's trying to figure it out. We've had multiple Senate hearings on the vaccines led by Senator Ron Johnson, multiple House hearings led on the vaccines by Marjorie Taylor Greene. Now would be a great time for Trump to bring in those two supporters. They strongly support Trump. He should get a thorough, meeting with Ron Johnson, Marjorie Taylor Greene, and understand vaccine safety. He's seen this divide now under kind of the ideology of the CDC. The CDC was ideologically aligned with vaccines. He's starting to see discord. Now's the time, I think, for him to bring in his allies and get him fully up to speed.
All right. So he talked about Pfizer and the other drug companies giving him information that looks great. But then he says, but why won't you make this public for everyone to see? Are they not being transparent, the drug companies, with their data?
No, actually, Pfizer tried to conceal their safety data for 55 years. So this finally came out in court documents. So no, the companies haven't been transparent at all on safety. Remember, they didn't conduct large definitive clinical trials into 2021 and beyond. So the safety data are what they are. I don't think the drug companies can dress it up and make them look safe when they're not.
Do you think this is a veiled way of the president calling for an investigation?
It could be a first step. I think there's better ways to do it. If I was president, I simply would be meeting with key people in the House and the Senate that have thoroughly investigated vaccines. Why not just do it kind of a usual way? I wouldn't look for drug companies to provide the answer.
All right. I found it very interesting. We saw a bunch of CDC resignations over the last week, and they're resigning because they claim this current CDC is not following the science. I have never heard a better example of projection as to what the last CDC was doing.
Well, remember, this is the CDC on their website years ago that had the zombie apocalypse training module. They had pages there about how men could do breastfeeding for babies. And the CDC cannot be held as a gold standard of science or as, public health exemplar. It simply can't. The CDC had lost its bearings, 6,600 employees, now 600 are being let go, and some of the key leaders are being let go. I think largely about ideology, Grant, and that is they were ideologically aligned and took faith in vaccines. They accepted vaccines based on faith, not on science.
All right, let me play a clip for you because you've got ABC. They march out this Dr. Dimitri Daskalakis, who made this claim about babies and hepatitis vaccine. I'm going to play the clip for you, cut 6.
But if you have a mother who's not gone to prenatal care, who comes in to deliver, we have one bite at that apple so that child gets that important hepatitis B vaccine. Why does it matter? Kids who have hepatitis B, they get liver scarring. It's called cirrhosis later in life. Or it's a really common cause of liver cancer.
So he wants to give every baby a hepatitis B shot. Wouldn't it just be easier to test the mom for hepatitis B?
Yeah, all moms are tested, Grant. If somebody slips through the cracks and they're using IV drugs, both the mother and baby can take hepatitis B shots. But, for an average, middle American healthy mother and baby, no hepatitis B vaccine needed.
All right, this is the same guy you talk about ideologically unaligned. I want to play this clip, cut 5, from Scott Jennings. This is the same guy that talked about birthing people instead of just calling them mothers, and why this takes away from credibility. Well, the CNN panel wasn't having anything about it.
I just have to say, he did use the term pregnant people in his resignation.
Oh, come
letter.
on.
I'm sorry. If that is like, if that is like the way you're presenting information, I have two questions about your credibility.
Scott, it's so amazing.
It's not a ruse. He really wrote it down.
We are talking.
Doc, you've been around a lot of prominent doctors like yourself. If they can't admit that only a woman can give birth to a baby, is it fair to take credibility away from them?
Well, look at those pictures, Grant, with a kind of sadomasochistic tattoos and devil worshiping, choke collars on other men. This is somebody who's just in their personal life is deeply disturbed. That person should not be in a position to guide public health. And he walked out after Monterez was terminated. And I think America needs much better leadership that can lead by example, not only in their scientific principles and their clinical leadership, but also in their personal impact that they can have on society.
Yeah, it takes a total package. It really does. And it just seems we've lost so much faith that people just have lost all common sense. They've lost our value systems, and these people are put in positions of leadership. And of course, we wonder why the country goes in the wrong direction. I know Bobby Kennedy Jr. and President Trump and all the teams are trying to turn things around. Certainly all of you at the Wellness Company. You've been such a powerful voice, Dr. McCullough. It's always great having you on. Thank you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. All right, folks, they blame the gun. We, of course, blame the individual. The truth about gun statistics next.